today, he had the story that Nebraska AD and former Nebraska football star Trev Alberts is headed as the number one target, now headed to A&M. Including in this is, oh, by the way, that there is a buyout. Now, we see buyouts when it comes to college football coaches. A buyout of about $4 million for A&M, that's like breathing, even though they have a lot of buyouts that they're paying at this particular time. Mitch Sherman from theathletic.com. This completely took a lot of people, I guess almost everybody, by surprise in Lincoln. What the heck's going on? That's kind of the response. Trev Alberts and a bunch of facilities being built, finishing up. Hired Fred Hoiberg, who's done a good job with basketball. Rhule, the football coach. So it's not a surprise an AD moves on. But this one here, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, 365 Sports, that has a buyout for an AD.
Well, the buyout for the AD and the fact that he's leaving his alma mater, which he was trying to help rebuild, particularly on the football field. And look, he's left him in good hands with Matt Rhule, but that hasn't happened yet. I mean, again, phase one. Maybe it'd be phase one. They might Matt Rhule might not be yet to phase one. Like there might have been phase 0 first before he got to phase one, given how long it's been since Nebraska's been relevant in football. And Trev Alberts leaving to go to A&M, and the only people who can wrestle away from Nebraska's got a ton of money and a ton of alumni influence and a ton of resources to keep Trev Alberts there. Texas A&M probably has a little bit more, just slightly bigger, but even still, it's still kind of shocking to see somebody leave their alma mater who hasn't not really been there all that long yet as the AD, but on down to Texas A&M, who it's kind of like there's levels. Like A&M seems to grab ADs, and then those guys go and get bigger jobs, or in the case of Bill Byrne, they kind of send him off into retirement, but there are just so many different things where they lost Ross Bjork to Ohio State, who's one of the few schools that has more resources than A&M probably, and then now they go and get Trev Alberts, and I'm curious to see what Trev Alberts brings to College Station.
Yeah, this was a shock. I mean, not following Nebraska super close, I don't think that it even matters because if Mitch Sherman was shocked by it, or people that he's talking to are shocked by it, that even those who are following it closely didn't have a clue that this was coming. So, yeah, I'm stunned by that. I mean, I don't think that there's a lot of athletic director news that's splashy necessarily, but this certainly is, much like when Ross Bjork left A&M for Ole Miss. And that caused quite the stir and conversation when he made that move. But, yeah, given all that's going on at A&M and Nebraska both right now, you thought that Trev Alberts and his affiliation with the school as a former player and the hires that you mentioned, that they would be knee-deep in the build-up process still and not a situation where he's ready to go move on and do something else already. It's like you thought that he would see through Matt Rhule's buildup of the football program and what that looks like over the next couple of years at the bare minimum. But no, A&M came calling, and I'm sure with a pretty big wallet in tow. Not that money's probably a concern for him at this stage in his career, but we know that A&M will money whip with the best of them, and they are always ready to open the pocketbooks if they feel like there's a move that can be made that will help them eventually get to where they feel like they deserve to be and have earned to be and are destined to be, which is at the top of college athletics. And some people will sneer at that, but A&M, to their credit, never stops trying. Like they've never just been like, you know what, yeah, you guys are right, we should just stop putting in the effort that we're putting in. Eventually they're going to break through. It might take 100 years, but when it happens, they're going to be thrilled. So, they keep on investing at a high rate, and this is a huge investment that I think is, a definite, major headline. So, yeah, I'm just kind of taken aback by it, and very curious to hear from Trev Alberts when the time comes. Very curious what Matt Rhule's thinking right now, knowing how big of a role that Trev Alberts played and just, the whole going to Nebraska adventure to begin with. So, yeah, great hire for A&M based on everything that we know. And let's see if he can take the Aggies to the promised land that so many have attempted to and even gotten close to but haven't been able to fully do. But this is one of those that doesn't matter if you're in a certain conference, there's always somebody bigger. There's maybe like two schools that there's nobody that's above them. But for most everybody, there's always somebody bigger. And in this case, this was a bigger opportunity for Trev Alberts, clearly.
All the sites that cover A&M that he will be named as the AD. Here's from Phil Catalfamo. He's a TV anchor in the Bryan College Station area. For a statement from Alan Cannon, who's the media relations director, A&M President Mark Welsh appointed a 7-person committee to search for our new director of athletics. I have not received any notification from the president or anyone on the committee at this time. So there's still that. That was about a half hour ago. But everything points to Trev Alberts taking over.
No one who's reporting this has been wrong very much.
Not with Nebraska football news, Mitch
I mean,
Sherman and people like that, no.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Mitch Sherman, Ross Dellinger, Brett Zwerneman, these guys have a pretty good. If you had them at the top of the lineup, it'd be like the Dodgers right now.
Yeah.
Where you got Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei Ohtani. That's where you're going to get a lot of hits. You're going to be a lot on base a lot of times with those guys. So
how do you feel as a Nebraska fan?
It's disappointing because, one, he's an alum. He's a well-honored football player that was a part of the stretch that turned the corner under Osborne and almost stunned the world with a win against Florida State. He was a part of that game that Florida State won, and finally they broke through as well. He had given them some stability. Now, not everybody was excited about him when he was first hired. At the University of Nebraska, Omaha, the football program was dropped. Tracy Fisher, who I've known for a long, long time, who's either listened to me when I've been on the radio or whatever, Rhule not only will lose Trev Alberts, she's a huge, Tracy, boy or girl, I don't, but close to Admiral Carter, who was the president of Nebraska, who left for Ohio State. So those were two huge parts of Matt Rhule taking the job at Lincoln. I'm disappointed because he's an alum, disappointed because they seem to have at least things had calmed down. Their facilities already were great, but they're going to even be better. And so this is just another way to kind of, now they got to go through this. And you never know who you hire next and if they get along with people that are already there and vice versa.
There are definitely disastrous athletic director hires, much like there are head coaching hires. I know Nebraska will be smart with it, but you did kind of feel like everything was sort of lining up, and now this new venture into this new era of college football, you've got a secure spot, and that still remains, but just the what do you call it? The alignment at the top is no longer there.
From the top to the president to AD to coaches.
That's something that Matt Rhule, I know, greatly appreciates, and that's something that all coaches appreciate is having that alignment, president, AD, football coach, what have you. So, that's suddenly turned on its head, and we're all, guys who appreciate, respect, and are friendly and are friends with Matt Rhule. And so, I have to wonder what he's thinking right now. It's got to be a bit of a curveball for everybody.
All right, so there we are with that. By the way,